Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today we're following on from what we did last week, which was a review of a mystery product by a company called Mr. Brains, and this week I'm going to make my version of them, and we're calling them Savoury Ducks, even though there's no duck in them. The reason I'm being so cagey about naming these things is that to speakers of American English, the name of these things is a fairly strong slur against homosexuals, whereas in oldie England for a couple of centuries or more, this word was used to describe a bundle of something like sticks or bits of meat or something, and it rhymes with maggots. Anyway, for reasons unknown to me, in that Lancashire, these things are known as savoury ducks, and other parts of the north as well, but not Yorkshire so much. So that's what we'll call them, and hopefully the idiot algorithm won't work it out. If you enjoy this video, give it a like, share, subscribe, etc. and let's get on with it. Savoury ducks. Okay, ingredients for our savoury ducks. We've got 300 grams of pig's liver, 300 grams of pork shoulder, a medium onion, 75 grams of breadcrumbs, and a teaspoon of white pepper, half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, half a teaspoon of mace, half a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of sage. The thing about savoury ducks is they are wrapped in fat, a special kind of fat called caul fat, or the French call it crepinette. It's very, very hard to get, and I haven't managed to get any. You can buy it online, but it costs about £4.50 plus £20 overnight chilled delivery. So yeah, I don't want it that much. And the idea of that is, first of all, it holds the bundle together, which isn't that critical actually, because they do hold themselves together. But also the fat melts as it's roasting in the oven, and it gives it some unctuousness. So I'm going to try a little experiment. I'm just going to cut these strips of fat off these bits of pork and lay those on top and see if that works. I've never done it before, so it'll work, or it'll be okay anyway, so we'll see. I've also seen recipes where people use rolled oats instead of breadcrumbs, or they use sage and onion stuffing, which actually might be quite a good idea, but it's not traditional, so I'm not doing it. Let's chop this fat up, see what we can do with it. Reminds me a bit of the idea of larding, where you cut a strip or a thread of pork fat, and you have a special needle called a larding needle, and you sew it through a big block of lean meat, and as it's cooking, the fat melts and lubricates it. Alright, there's all the fat cut off. We need to cut these bits of meat into pieces that are small enough to go through the mincer. If you don't have a mincer, or you don't want to do your own mince, you can use ready minced pork. And for the liver, you would just need to cut it as finely as you can. I'll just whack this in the freezer for a bit while we get on with everything else. Okay, get rid of your meaty contaminated chopping board and knife and wash your paws. And now we're just going to deal with the onion, top and tail it, peel it and half it, and those half onions will be okay to go through the mincer. If you're not using a mincer, you'll have to finely chop these yourself. Okay, now I'm going to mince the meat. So I've got my houseworked, whatever it is, stand mixer. I'll put a link in the what's name below if you want to get one of these. Yeah, affiliate link. So just put the scrolly thing on. I've got a medium grinding plate on there. And the feed tray and the stuff. And I'll just feed everything through and alternate bits so that it kind of gets homogenated. I know what I mean. Now we need to form this mixture into 9 equal sized balls. So I'm going to weigh the mixture. Right, that's 780 grams. So that's 86.66666 recurring. So grab yourself a handful of goop, chuck it on the scales, that's 81, 86. These are a bit worryingly wet actually, but we'll probably be okay. So I've stirred in a tablespoon or 2 of flour just to absorb a little bit of that moisture. Okay, there's our savoury ducks, and now I'm going to do the the weird experimental strips of fat across. As I said before, I've no idea if this will work, but well, if you don't try it, you'll never know, will ya? And while you're doing this, get your oven preheating to 160 degrees Celsius for a fan oven. That's 180 for a conventional one, and that is gas 6. I'm going to pour in about a centimetre of boiling water, about half an inch. Cover it with foil. And we'll pop that in the oven for 40 minutes and then take the foil off and give it another 20 minutes so the top goes a bit crunchy. Right, while the savoury ducks are cooking, you need to make the sauce, the gravy, or in the case of Mr. Brain, the West Country sauce. Now, I'm intrigued, but well, not very intrigued. It's a thing they made up. I've looked and looked and looked. It doesn't exist in any other context. Basically, it's an onion gravy with a bit of tomatoiness, I think. So, you need onions. I've run out of actual onions, so I've got some shallots, but you know, about that much. Allium-ness. Half a litre of, this is chicken stock, a squidge of tomato passata or tomato puree, and some flour and butter. So we need to chop these up into little bits. So there we go. Now we need to get over to the stove and start making the sauce. And first thing to do is heat up some oil and butter in a frying pan, and then chuck these bits of onion in on a low heat and let them cook for about 15-20 minutes till they're nice and soft and starting to go golden. While the onion's cooking, I'm going to start making some mashed tatties. So you need to peel a load of spuds, don't you? Actually, I don't, because I'm going to use a potato ricer to mash them, and that actually takes the skin off as if by magic. So I just need to cut them into chunks. Well, cut all the grotty bits out, but then cut them into nice chunks. And we'll hook those into a pan of salted water, bring it to the boil, and let them cook till they're tender, which will take about 15-20 minutes. And then we can stir in some flour, and then pour in some chicken stock or beef stock. This is my homemade wibbly wobbly chicken stock, and just let that cook out for what, 5-10 minutes so it's nice and thick, and add a squirt of tomato passata. So the sauce was still not very tasty even after I put the tomato passata in, so I've added a teaspoon of yeast extract, which is basically Marmite, and yeah, that gives it a kick. I'm trying to avoid adding salt to everything because you know, blood pressure and that. So the savoury ducks have had 40 minutes, and I'll just uncover them, and they look a bit anemic, and the fat hasn't actually melted the way I thought it would. I'm going to turn up the heat 20 degrees Celsius and give them another maybe 25 minutes and see how that works out. Okay, time to put it all together. So the potatoes are cooked and I'm going to mash them. So I've drained them, and we want a good old lump of butter in a pan. I've got potato rice, link in the description below if you want one. They're very good. I would just hurl some tatties in there. A spoon would be a good idea, but there you go. Okay, and squeeze. There you have lump-free potato, and there's the skin. So, it is a little bit messy, but we need to relocate that skin because we don't want it in the spuds. Well, I certainly don't. Alright, there it is, all the spuds. Just add a little splash of milk and a little pinch of salt. I know I said about not using salt, but you absolutely have to have some in your spuds. And now it's taste test time with Mrs. KeefCooks.
Yay! Hello! Right, so the camera's there. I think this is the first time I've done a taste test with the new layout. Ooh!
Savoury Ducks.
Savoury Ducks, yes.
Not the other thing.
No. Has he explained about?
Yeah, many times.
Good.
Endlessly.
Okay.
Honestly, it's so boring.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to these. I know Keith really didn't like the Brains brand traditional one. I quite liked them, but mostly the aftertaste was salt.
Very sparing with the salt in this.
Thank you. So, yeah, this has got much more texture to it. And more flavour.
Yeah. I don't like the sauce.
Why not?
I put too much tomato passata in it.
Oh, is that what it is? I must admit, I was looking forward to the onion gravy.
Well,
but never mind.
Well, there you go.
The mashed potato is splendid as always. Oh, we did a fish pie the other day. Oh, it's one of my favourite things.
Like, not this.
I'm enjoying this. Slightly hampered by the fact that I'm really hungry. So where I should be focusing on doing the taste test for you guys, it's like, oh, dinner at last. Thank you, darling.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got a very nice texture.
Yeah, much better than the shop bought variety, which is what you'd hope, but it's actually true. Anyway, you don't want to watch me eat that pie at my dinner.
Okay. Grand. Right. We have to squeeze down to get in that. The digital.
Oh, yeah.
Because
The technology here, you see.
yeah, I know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time.